Something terrible happened in the United States that devastated everything. Animals started coming out of the forests and coming into human homes. No one could understand what was happening. The movie begins with a view of the entire world, then zooms in on America where the sun rises, signaling the start of a typical day. We meet a family living in America, a father, his wife Amanda, and their 2 children. The father is generally easygoing, while Amanda is often angry, mistrustful, and ill-tempered. Both parents work, and their daughter loves watching TV shows while their son tends to be mischievous. One morning, Amanda wakes up in a surprisingly good mood and suggests they take a vacation to an island. Unable to refuse her request, the husband agrees, and they all excitedly prepare to leave. During the car journey to the island, they enjoy each other's company and anticipate a fun time ahead. Upon reaching the grand house Amanda booked for their stay, the children immediately head to the pool while the husband unloads the luggage. Meanwhile, Amanda goes to the market to buy food and drinks, feeling cheerful. However, she notices another man loading an unusually large amount of supplies into his car, which unsettles her, though she doesn't confront him. Back at the house, the family heads to the beach, where they notice a massive ship in the distance. Initially thinking nothing of it, they become concerned as the ship remains stationary for hours, then begins to move closer. Sensing danger, Amanda's husband urges them to leave the beach. Panic ensues as the ship continues to approach, seemingly out of control, until it finally docks on the beach, leaving everyone feeling unnerved. The situation grew increasingly bizarre, prompting the entire beach to clear out in no time. A guard explained that there was a system malfunction causing chaos not just with one ship, but with several others as well. The family hurried back home, only to discover that there was no internet connection and the TV channels weren't working. Ordering food online was out of the question, so they made do with whatever they had at home. As the children drifted off to sleep, Amanda and her husband stayed downstairs, sipping their drinks, when they were startled by a knock on the door. Wondering who it could be, they opened it to find a man named Scott and his daughter. Both husband and wife were taken aback by the unexpected visitors. Scott explained that the house belonged to him, clarifying that they had communicated only online, which made Amanda skeptical since they hadn't spoken over the phone. Scott asked if they could come inside, and despite Amanda's reluctance, her husband welcomed them in. Scott shared that they were from the city where a sudden power outage had plunged everything into darkness. He assured them that they wouldn't be a bother and offered to pay for their stay, returning the money they had given him. While Amanda remained suspicious, her husband believed they were genuinely in need and should extend help. After a private discussion, Amanda reluctantly agreed to let them stay. As they conversed further, Scott's demeanor seemed reassuring, although he appeared slightly apprehensive. When Scott's daughter turned on the TV, they were greeted with an emergency broadcast message, confirming Scott's story about the power outage and communication breakdown. Realizing the severity of the situation, they understood they were facing challenging circumstances. Scott, being a government officer, harbored concerns about the unfolding events, adding to their unease. Before proceeding further in the video, if you like our videos, then you can subscribe to our channel for such amazing videos. The worry was evident on his face. The next morning, Amanda's daughter expressed her frustration about the lack of internet, eager to watch the next episode of her show. When Amanda checked her phone, she found an emergency news alert, but it vanished before she could show it to her husband. He suspected a system hack. However, Amanda's main concern remained the presence of the 2 strangers in their house. Her husband decided to go out to gather information. While he was away, Scott and his daughter woke up. Amanda shared the emergency notice with Scott, who reassured her, saying he hoped things would soon improve. He mentioned a similar past incident caused by a virus created by 2 boys, implying that the current situation might not be too serious. It was apparent that Scott was trying to ease their worries, prioritizing the well-being of his family and theirs. Scott's wife was supposed to travel by plane, adding to their concerns due to the malfunctioning systems. Meanwhile, Amanda's daughter encountered a strange sight of deer gathering in large numbers, a behavior unusual for animals. Scott went to help their neighbor but found their house deserted and in disarray. Meanwhile, Amanda's husband encountered difficulties with his GPS and encountered a distressed woman seeking directions. Her fear alarmed him, prompting him to leave without helping. Later, he heard a plane overhead dropping red paper, initially mistaking it for something dangerous before realizing it was harmless. Scott retrieved a satellite phone from his friend to communicate. With a glimmer of hope, they continued their efforts. Unaware of the unfolding events, Amanda's children ventured into the jungle and stumbled upon an empty cabin. Amanda's daughter shared her dear encounter with her brother, who dismissed it, opting instead to spook her with a scary story. They eventually left the cabin. Scott attempted to use the satellite phone, but it failed to work due to the American satellite changing its direction recently. He then witnessed a devastating scene on the beach where a plane had crashed, leaving no survivors, only lifeless bodies strewn around. Spotting another plane heading towards the same fate, Scott fled to safety, narrowly escaping the destruction. Upon returning home, he downplayed the situation to his daughter, claiming to have fallen into the pool. Scott confided in Amanda about the satellite phone malfunction and the plane crashes, but she remained skeptical until they heard a deafening and unfamiliar noise outside. Worried about her children, Amanda ventured into the jungle to find them, relieved to bring them back home safely, though her husband was still missing, causing further concern. Amanda's son described feeling odd after hearing the strange noise, and Amanda pressed Scott for answers. He speculated that it was not the sound of a plane or bomb but possibly a sound wave weapon. Concerned for her husband's safety, Amanda mentioned seeing a man hoarding supplies in the market days earlier, hinting at the escalating crisis. In my opinion, he was aware of what was coming, so he prepared for it all. Hearing this, Scott revealed that the man who gave them the red paper was his friend, already anticipating the events. Amanda's husband, visibly shaken, handed them the red paper, explaining that it had been dropped by a plane. Amanda's son recognized a word on it, which he had seen in a game, hinting at something catastrophic for America. The family grew fearful, considering someone had attacked to dismantle America, although the perpetrator remained unknown. Despite Scott's advice to stay, Amanda and her husband decided to flee to the city with their children. However, they encountered a road blocked by cars due to a system malfunction causing accidents. As another car approached, Amanda skillfully maneuvered their vehicle to avoid a collision, narrowly escaping. With no other option, they sought refuge at Scott's house. As Amanda's husband and Scott's daughter conversed, Scott explained that his wealthy friend had foreseen the crisis, hence his preparations, including the well-equipped house. To lighten the mood, they played music and danced, but they were interrupted by a strange noise. Investigating, they found a flock of flamingos, an unusual occurrence. The unsettling noise returned, forcing them to cover their ears as it intensified, causing objects in the house to break. After a long while, the noise ceased, leaving everyone terrified. Seeking comfort, Amanda's family decided to sleep together on one bed, while Scott and his daughter braced themselves for whatever morning would bring. Amanda's son's teeth began falling out one by one, leaving Amanda and her husband deeply alarmed and confused. They felt helpless, unable to comprehend the situation or seek assistance. Scott suggested seeking help from the man Amanda had seen hoarding supplies. This man happened to be Scott's friend, living nearby and likely having the necessary medicines. Together with Amanda's son, her father, and Scott, they headed to the friend's house. Upon arrival, they found the friend armed and wary, instructing them to park at a distance. This behavior shocked Scott, who noted the stark change in his friend's demeanor, indicating a struggle for survival among humans. Amanda's husband explained their son's condition, hoping for assistance, but the friend dismissed it as a common occurrence, attributing it to the recurring loud noises affecting people's minds. Refusing to help, the friend cited the changed circumstances and the onset of war, prioritizing his family's safety. Scott, angered by his friend's indifference, confronted him, leading to a heated argument escalating to the point of both men pointing guns at each other. However, Amanda's husband intervened, pleading with the friend to reconsider, offering money in exchange for assistance. The friend, acknowledging the futility of money in a lawless world, ultimately relented, providing medicine for Amanda's son's condition. He also speculated that the orchestrators could be Koreans, Chinese, Iranians, or another enemy country due to America's numerous adversaries. Despite the lack of concrete information, Amanda's husband and Scott discussed their observations. Scott confessed that he had anticipated such events given the circumstances. Scott elaborated on the enemy's strategy, likening it to a three-step game plan. Firstly, the government severs communication channels to isolate the population, leaving them disconnected and vulnerable. Secondly, covert attacks, like the unsettling noises they experienced, spread fear and misinformation, causing people to distrust one another and sow discord. This fosters an atmosphere of selfishness and paranoia, weakening society's ability to defend itself. Amanda's husband inquired about the third move, to which Scott revealed that it entailed plunging the world into war by destabilizing governments and eroding law and order, a scenario that seemed to be unfolding. Meanwhile, Amanda's daughter went missing, prompting Amanda and Scott's daughter to search for her. In the jungle cabin, they heard strange noises outside, leading Scott's daughter to discover a group of deer nearby. Amanda inadvertently scared them off with her screams, diverting her attention to the city where bombs were detonating, signaling widespread conflict and chaos. The distant screams affirmed their instinct to seek safety wherever they could. As law and order crumbled in the city, chaos ensued with rampant violence, looting, and lawlessness. When government and legal structures collapse, society descends into turmoil. Meanwhile, Amanda's daughter found herself in the house Scott had mentioned, belonging to his wealthy friend. This place served as a secure refuge, stocked with ample supplies including food, power, and even working internet. With DVDs and CDs available, Amanda's daughter settled in to watch her favorite show's final episode. As events unfolded, it became evident that numerous countries had allied to launch a coordinated attack on America, aiming to obliterate it entirely. The mysterious noises and peculiar deer behavior were attributed to these covert assaults. Finding solace in the safety of their new haven, Amanda's daughter realized they had discovered a sanctuary where their family could live peacefully. And with this realization, the movie concludes.